Hey guys, welcome back to the new video, and in this video we'll be talking about the difference between subdomain enumeration and subdomain brute forcing. And I'm making this video is because a lot of people don't understand the difference. Actually, they think finding subdomain through tools like Subfinder or any other tool, they're just gonna get them subdomains and then they can look for vulnerabilities for each subdomain and stuff like that. But they don't understand to find unique subdomains, there are different approaches in that step itself, and that matters a lot. Even if you find a lot of subdomains, a lot of people are also finding those subdomains and they're gonna look for those vulnerabilities as well, and the chances of you getting a duplicate is more. So that's why in this case it's important to understand the difference between these two so you can find unique subdomains while bug hunting. So let's get into it. A subdomain is a child domain that exists for the main domain. Basically, if there is example.com and there is something called blog.example.com, then blog.example.com is the subdomain of example.com. So these subdomains are used to separate services of the same domain, you can say. So like drive.google.com is a service for google.com where you can store files and stuff. Mail.google.com is also a subdomain of the google.com, but this is for sending and receiving mails and stuff. So when you're bug hunting, you want to find this kind of subdomains so you can look for different services they're offering and what you can exploit in those services, and if there is any vulnerabilities in those services that is worth reporting or not. So there's a lot of ways of doing this, but the first one we're going to talk about right now is subdomain enumeration. So when I say subdomain enumeration, I mean passive enumeration. Like you can find the subdomains from the public sources or sources that exist, like through search engines like Google or Bing or Wayback Machine or Shodan or CRT, certificate transparency logs. You can look there as well, or from the passive DNS. So these are stuffs where you can get the subdomains, and that's what the tools do. The tools that you use for subdomain enumeration, that's what they do. They look it up and then they give it up to you, and then again you have to check if they are live or not, and for that you can use HTTPS, of course. Okay, let's take an example of Subfinder, because there's a lot of tools on GitHub or on the internet. I don't know, so I'm not gonna mention all of them, but let's take an example of Subfinder because everybody knows this anyways. So when you put your domain to Subfinder start querying. It doesn't do brute forcing, it start querying certificate transparency logs or APIs like VirusTotal. I know there's a lot of APIs. I think you can provide your own API keys there as well. It queries from search engine and archives, and once it's all done, it gives it back to you. So it's doing a passive enumeration from the sources that already exist. So it will find subdomains that are already exposed to the internet, like logs or different services. So the disadvantage is it's only going to find subdomains that are exposed already, like through APIs, on search engines and datasets, whatever. And it might miss internal or hidden subdomains. Also, if the subdomain is brand new and it's not logged yet on the internet, it's not going to find it. So you're gonna miss that subdomain. And if someone else finds it before you, then of course the chances of them finding a vulnerability is more than you. Also, I created a video previously on how you can find subdomains through passive enumeration using different kind of tools, like a lot of tools I mentioned in that video, and how you can query stuff on the internet as well. So I think you should definitely check that out, because I'm not going to mention those things here because this video is more about discussing stuff, not too much practical stuff. But that video you can check from the I button and you're definitely gonna love it because I kept the vibe so good in that. You're gonna love it. Okay, so let's move on. So as we were talking about disadvantages, we know that it's going to miss internal subdomains or subdomains that are not crawled yet or not logged yet, you can say. So it's a huge disadvantage, right? And not just that, sometimes it also misses subdomains. So it depends on how it is configured, and it's going to look from those sources. If there is some kind of sources that keeps more subdomains and this tool is not configured to do so, it might miss it. So the chances of you finding a new subdomain that is untouched by other hackers, it's more or less now. And that's why you should always combine subdomain enumeration with subdomain brute forcing. Let's see how this is different. So in subdomain brute forcing, you are trying to brute force subdomains. Like you brute force passwords, just like that, you're brute forcing subdomain and checking if one of them hit or it's live or not. So one of the tools that I used for subdomain brute forcing is pure DNS. So in this tool, I basically provide the word list to guess the subdomain names and also a resolver file. Resolver file basically consists of different DNS, so it can query between them and it won't hit a rate limit or something. Basically just increases the efficiency of finding subdomains. So a good word list and a DNS resolver, and it does the job. So you can try that out, though there are a lot of tools on the internet. Let me know what tool you use for brute forcing. But yeah, so brute forcing helps you find hidden subdomains or subdomains that are not logged yet. One more thing that I want to talk about is subdomain permutations. Some of you might have heard about it, but some of you don't, so it's okay, I got you. So basically there are 3 steps of doing it. I would say put subdomain permutation step at the end, because for that you need valid subdomains. So how this works is, first you start with the passive enumeration, see if you can find subdomains, and then you can go for brute forcing, subdomain brute forcing, and then in the end, once you have the valid subdomains, of course you have to pass it through httpx and see which one of them are valid. So once you find the valid ones, you can do subdomain permutations. In that, basically you try to brute force again. So this is similar to subdomain brute forcing, but in here you are trying different kind of mutations. For example, if there is something called api.example.com, in that you will do subdomain permutations with a word list, and it's going to try something like api1.example.com or api-dev.example.com, something like that. Mutations, it's going to try on the valid subdomains and see if any one of them hit. So doing this increases your chances of finding hidden subdomains or subdomains that are not touched yet more. So for subdomain permutations, there are also a lot of tools. Some of them are DNSGen, Gotator. So basically you can install it from the GitHub and then you can pass it your valid subdomains and then it will try to guess different variations. But of course, once you got all those variations, you can save them in a file and then you again have to pass it through HTTPX to see which one of them are live, because some of them probably won't be working. So of course you need to check that out. So these are the 3 steps that you can do while finding subdomains. A lot of new people who are entering into bug bounty, they just run tools of subdomain enumeration, because I was kind of also one of them. I didn't know about permutations or brute forcing. I just thought running these tools will give me subdomains, which it does, but it's not very valuable if you want to find something good. Okay guys, I just wanted to make a short video, not too long, discussing this thing so you can get a heads up about these things while bug hunting, because it's not always about running tools, practical stuff and all. You also should have basic understanding as well of how things work. So hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.